Quantity versus quality, that's something I see a lot of people debating on a regular basis on the internet. Today, I'm going to do my own personal debate between two monster albums where I feel like a lot of people constantly go with quantity over quality. I'm going to talk about Thriller versus Bad coming right up. Hey, it's Russ from the Infectious Groove podcast and Vinyl channel. If this is your first time on the channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button below, or at least drop us a like if you like the video or any of the content that we've provided. If you're interested in carrying on the conversation, go and hit the link in the description to join our Vinyl Facebook group. We would love to have you. If you're not on Facebook or you just don't want to join the group, at least leave us a comment below and let me know what you think about the thoughts I'm about to share in this video. Before I get started, the real quick disclaimer I want to make is that I do not think either of these albums are bad by any stretch of the imagination. Bad, of course, in quality, not a reference to the follow-up LP to Thriller. I think this is splitting the finest of hairs when you discuss the greatness that is involved with the tracks on both of these records. However, what I find online, even between casual fans and even a lot of hardcore Michael Jackson fans that I see, is that every time someone does a poll of Bad versus Thriller, or just asks in general which album is better, almost every single time Thriller just gets the instant win. But I'm more concerned with the fact that what I see for reasoning regarding Thriller getting the win is it sold X hundred millions of copies, or well, Bad only sold this many hundreds of millions of copies. And for me, in all things art, I'm far more concerned with the quality of a record over the quantity. There are many bands that I don't like at all, artists that I don't like at all, that many people don't like at all, but somehow have shifted, hundreds of millions of units. And I don't think that that makes one artist or group better than another artist or group just because of the higher quality quantity of sales numbers. So for me, I just wanted to break down my best tracks between the two records and explain a little bit of my perspective on which one I think is the superior LP. Now, with Thriller, yes, of course, you've got some of the greatest pop music ever recorded, and personally, I think one of the best starts to a side two in the history of recorded music, with Beat It, Billie Jean, and Human Nature, all three following each other. Yes, I know PYT and The Lady in My Life follow those two tracks. I'm not as big of a fan as PYT as everyone else is. I don't dislike the track by any stretch of the imagination, but to me, it's not in the discussion with that combo of Beat It, Billie Jean, and Human Nature. I do feel like the record takes a bit of a dip when you go from there to PYT. Again, not a bad track at all. I just feel like that causes that side to dip a little bit. The Lady in My Life, I will say, is an extremely underrated Michael Jackson track. But when I get into Bad, I do feel like he made ballads that were better than The Lady in My Life on the follow-up LP. As far as the first side goes, Want to Be Starting Something, amazing track, great way to start the record, of course, for many different reasons. Michael would go on to use it as his opening track on many tours, so it's just a solid opening track. Baby Be Mine is one that I think is going to upset some people, that this song absolutely does nothing for me. I like Michael's vocal performance, but to me it's a very, very, very generic track, and it's not even in the discussion with anything on side two. Like I said, PYT, I don't feel lives up to the first three tracks on side two, and Baby Be Mine I feel is way below that discussion. The Girl Is Mine, another one that just doesn't do much for me. I like the other collaboration between Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney quite a bit better, Say Say Say, that ended up on Paul's Pipes of Peace record, but The Girl Is Mine ended up on this record. It's not a track I would skip. ever, but it's never a track I would put on before anything that's on the follow-up LP. And then, of course, rounding out side one, Thriller, the title cut. It's iconic. It's an incredible track, made to listen to far more than just around Halloween time, like the general public seems to use it for. I mean, it's just a great, great song. Everything about it is fantastic, from the production to the vocal performance, to, of course, the visual accompaniment later. So for me, there's at least 4 just solid, cannot be discussed, all-time great pop songs on this record. And then the rest of the album, for me, is very mixed between, acceptable level to songs I would never choose to put on purpose. Then you move on to Bad. Bad, to me, is a stunningly good follow-up to Thriller, and I feel superior to Thriller in every way. I will get this out of the way right off the bat. For me, the only song on this record that even qualifies for the discussion I had about PYT, or actually I should equate it more to Baby Be Mine, in that range, is Just Good Friends, which is kind of upsetting to me because Just Good Friends is a collaboration with Stevie Wonder. If you have Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder on a track, it should be solid gold, but for me, the track just doesn't hit at all. Speed Demon is one I would put more in the PYT area, where it's not a song I would never put on purpose, but I would put everything else on this record on before I put Speed Demon on. But it's not like Just Good Friends, where if you put it on, I'll deal with it, but I would never put it on for myself. Then when you talk about the entirety of the rest of this record, I personally feel like nearly every track on this record, outside of the title tracks, Speed Demon and Liberian Girl, are all in the discussion with the greatness that is Human Nature, Beat It, Billie Jean. The title track I don't dislike at all, and I think it's a great way to start this record off. If I'm doing a head-to-head shootout, I do think Wanna Be Starting Something is a better way to start an album than the title track on Bad. But then moving on from there, The Way You Make Me Feel, Another Part of Me, Man in the Mirror, Just Can't Stop Loving You. Stop off and say that I think I Just Can't Stop Loving You, Man in the Mirror, and Liberian Girl are all as good or far better than The Lady in My Life. So again, even if you're going to go with just comparing the ballads, I think there's any of these 3 you could compare directly against The Lady in My Life and end up with a Bad taking the score on that. And then, of course, Dirty Diana, Smooth Criminal. And depending on which version you get, the album ends with Leave Me Alone. Most versions that people would own now end with Leave Me Alone. I personally like Leave Me Alone being on the record for a number of reasons. One, it was recorded far before the ridiculousness that Michael would have to deal with in a court of law before being found innocent, and the ridiculous charges that have challenged his obvious innocence since he passed away. So for me, even though that song has nothing to do with that, it's still a good piece for me to go to whenever I'm forced to think about that farce. But Smooth Criminal and Dirty Diana, again, like with Thriller, I don't want to take the visuals into effect because we're just talking about the audio here, but the visuals that come with Smooth Criminal and Dirty Diana take the whole Bad experience up a notch, but just the songs on their own. Dirty Diana being a precursor to songs like Given to Me that he would do later in his career, which again, up that notch of that hard rock edge that he had. And then Smooth Criminal is just an undeniable Michael Jackson classic. So again, I understand that we are splitting the finest of hairs here. I mean, we're talking about an artist who released 2 of the greatest pop records ever made by anybody ever, and he did it in a row in the same decade. And I am absolutely not here to say Thriller is trash and no one liked Thriller. I'm just making another argument for Bad being the superior record based on quality alone. because I always see that argument of, well, Thriller sold a gazillion copies, so that must be the superior record. And I just don't feel that way. As I said at the top of the video, if this is your first time on the channel, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button. We cover so many different types of artists, not just MJ or not just pop. There's so many different types of music on the channel for you to enjoy. But what matters to me most is the interaction in the community. So if you have an opinion on this, and if you're watching this video, I'm guessing you do, please make sure to leave a comment below. I would love to have a conversation with you about these two records. No matter what, even if you don't subscribe to the channel or if you don't leave a comment on the video, if you could drop us a like, I'd appreciate it. And I always appreciate you watching. Thank you so much.